In this video, I'll be showing how to change the caption of a field, how to change the order in which these fields appear on your ordering form, and also change the type of field. So for example, here's a pull-down menu, and here's a text box. Over here in this other tab, I have my ezMerge template opened up, and I'm going to select the Fields and Blocks tab. First, we'll discuss the order in which those fields appear. The way that it is shown on the Fields and Blocks tab is the order in which it will appear on the order form. For example, if I wanted to move title above name, all I have to do is click and drag title above name, then release my mouse. If I then refresh this page, you'll notice that title has moved above name. Okay. In order to change the caption of these, so for example, if I want to change title to title 2, come back here into my ezMerge template, expand title, and right here where it says field caption, I can change that to title 2. When clicking 2 and clicking save, that will change the caption on the ezMerge template. Notice that that title is now changed to title 2. The third thing we're going to talk about is the difference of field type. The most common field types are text box, pull down, and text area in that order. Radio buttons, multi-select, and checkbox is rarely used. Let me show you an example of these different fields. So first, a text box is going to be a single line of text like you see here. A pull-down menu is handy for something like an address or a city or a state where you do not want your customer to be typing in those values. You want them to be selecting those from a menu. That will be a pull-down. And to change that, all you would have to do is change this from a text box to a pull-down. And you'd enter your different values into the pull-down. So something like Chicago, Dallas, New York. Upon saving that, this field will change to a pull-down menu rather than a text box. Okay, the third value is a text area. A text area allows the user to enter multiple lines of text. For example, I'm going to go ahead and save this title box as a text area. Then I'm going to reload this page. And you'll see now that the title has a text area they can type into. This allows them to enter multiple lines of text and have that translate over to the proof. A common feature that's desired primarily for stationary items is that when the customer arrives on their item, information from their profile is automatically filled into the card so that they do not have to fill in that information each time they order a new item. In order to automatically fill these fields with their current profile information, it's going to be done on the template. So when we open up our ezMerge template, we're going to head over to the Fields and Blocks tab. Let's select something pretty simple like name. You'll notice that on the Settings tab, under Field Value, which is what is appearing in that text box, are these two fields here, first name and last name. In order to access these fields, you can click over here on the right where it says Profile Fields, and that's going to display a list of all of the different fields that are available to them in the profile. If you've created any custom profile fields, those will appear down at the bottom of this list. By clicking on one of these values, you'll see that it automatically adds the variable into this area here. So that way when the item loads, it will automatically have that user's profile information. In this video, we'll be discussing the debug mode and the position tab and how they play a part with each other. One of the tasks to do when setting up one of these cards or adjusting one of these cards is the position in which your text appears. The best way to adjust this text is to first place your ezMerge template in debug mode. So if I open up the ezMerge template, on the template tab there's a checkbox that says debug mode. When I turn that on, what it's going to do is it's going to temporarily replace all my text to be magenta. It's also going to draw boxes around my text flow boxes and any other text that's appearing on this card. So for example, you'll see if I take away the direct number, that box will stay the same size because that's the size of the box that was originally put onto the PDF. Now, to make changes to this, to change the box size or to move that box around, that happens on the position tab of there. So when we go to that ezMerge template, we go to fields and blocks, you'll see down here we have our text flow blocks. If we expand one of these, we'll say this is the address block. This holds a majority of the information that you saw below. We can also click on the position tab. The position tab tells us a couple of things. First, it gives us the page height and page width. That's the total document size, and since this is a business card, it's obviously 2 by 3.5. Next is that we can adjust the size and location of this box without having to reopen the PDF. By default, it's set to points. However, if you prefer to work in inches, that's okay as well. You can change it to that, or centimeters. Any of those are available to you. Typically we work in points, and let's start over here on the left hand side where what this measures is the distance of the box from the left hand side. Okay, this also measures the distance from the top. So for example, if I increase this number from 12 to 15, click on save, and then refresh the proof, you'll notice that my box has moved over 15 points. If I want to move it down, I would increase this top number by 10 points, and my entire box would move down. Click save, click refresh, and you'll see that it moves down. Okay, I'll go ahead and replace that back with those original values. If I forget what the left-hand value is, I can always expand a block above it and see that this is set to 12.96. I'll set this to 12.96, and now it will be perfectly aligned with the box above it, just like so. You can also control the width and the height of the box. So for example, if I take this from 135 and change it to 155, you'll see that the width of the box will grow. Okay. Also the height of the box, if I change this from 63 to 73, the box will grow taller. So this has been a video on debug mode and the positioning tab and how to move text around once it's already on the business card. You'll want to make sure that after you're done, you go back into your template and disable debug mode to set your text back to what the original color was, and also remove the boxes from the card. Thanks and have a great day.
I'm going to show you guys how to change the fonts you're using on your ezMerge fields. You can upload new fonts by going to the Fonts tab inside of your ezMerge template. You can add files over here on the right, search for your fonts and go ahead and upload them. You can upload any of these supported font types you see right here. And if you have fonts you'd like to download and place on another template that you have, you can go ahead and click the Download All Fonts button at the bottom here. Inside of the Fields and Blocks tab, you can set the font you want for each one of your fields on the Formatting tab. Just use the Font drop-down menu and it's going to show every font you have uploaded so far. You can just click a different one, set it, and it will reflect on the order form. The Formatting tab can be used to change a bunch of different settings on your text lines. You can change the color right below the font. You can use RGB, CMYK, or spot colors. When you click the option, you just have to fill in the values on the right. You can change the alignment of the text within the text flow on the top right here. You can also turn on bold or italic. Character spacing will change the space between the letters in your words, And then word spacing will change the space in between words. So let me show you a quick example of that. See, on my order form, maybe I think that's a little too much space in between my characters. So I'm going to go ahead and decrease that to 0 space in between my characters. And you'll see that it came closer together, and then I'm going to decrease my word space by 1. And it got nudged just a little bit closer together. Next, you can set formatting rules. This is really good for things like phone numbers. If you want to make sure that a phone number that somebody enters has parentheses or dots between certain numbers, you can do that. Just by changing out the parentheses, you can move add spaces, or if you want to use different special characters, you absolutely can. And to get started with these, we recommend you use this drop-down menu right next to the formatting box. It's going to give you a bunch of preset built formatting options, like phone number with extension. If you want to force all uppercase in a field, you can do that too. Dates. The TextFlow designers, or I'm sorry, the TextFlow blocks have a different formatting tab, just a little bit different. So these formatting tabs allow you to increase or decrease leading. And this is going to increase the space in between your text lines inside of the text flow. So I just increased this from 115% to 130%. So if I go back onto my order form, you're going to see that the title is going to drop down from the name. Or if the title's already at the bottom, it'll send the name up. If you want your user to be able to control which font they're using or how big their font size is, inside the formatting tab, you'll find a link that says click to edit user controls. Go ahead and click it. You'll need to enable user controls for this field by checking the box at the top. Then you can select which fonts you have uploaded that you'd like your user to be able to choose between for this field. Below that, you can tell the user which font sizes you'd like to allow. So if I wanted to allow some more font sizes, I can just add a comma and add the other sizes I'd like him to be able to choose from. Below that, I can say if the user is allowed to enable bold or italic text in this field. And then below that, I can choose a custom color palette that you build in another part of my order desk for the user to choose a color between. We're not going to cover this in this video, but we will in a future one. Then finally, you can say if the user is allowed to change the alignment of the text in that text line. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And if I come over to the order form, you'll see that I'm allowed to choose between the fonts I've turned on, the different font sizes, if I want to make the name bold or not, and center it so it'll change the alignment within the text flow, move it back to the left, and I can make it italic. There are some cases where you're going to need to link text after or before a field. And what I mean by this is if I enter a fax number here, we're going to see that on the proof, the word fax appears after the fax number. The way we accomplish this in my order desk is if we come back to ezMerge, go to Fields and Blocks, and I expand the fax number. Inside the Linking tab, you see I've placed the fax field, and then right after that, I type the word fax. This is going to make it that this word will always appear after this field, wherever this field appears. Now this word will always use the same rules inside of the formatting, so the font, the size, the color will always be the same. If you needed this word, fax, to be a different font size or a different color, we would have to take it out of here and I would need to place it inside of our text flow designer instead. So I could put facts here. Actually, I'll put it after. And then inside of the formatting tab, I would set the font I would need that text to be. So the formatting tab, inside the text flow designer, the font, the color, the size will only affect the text that you hard type into here. So if I change this to, let's make it bold, and let's make it blue. If I click refresh, we're going to see that facts just became a dark blue and bold. Now that I've moved facts into the text flow designer, what happens if I take out the number is you'll notice the text now stays there. Since it's part of the text flow designer, linking rules aren't applying, and the text stays there, and we don't want that. So what I need to do is I need to come back into my text flow designer, and I need to insert what are called optional tags. It's just open bracket, optional close bracket, and then after my facts, I'm going to insert a closing optional tag. And what this says unless every text field within these two tags are filled in, do not show any text that we have hard typed into here. So now if I click save, go back to my order form, click refresh, we're going to see facts disappear. And when I type in the fax number, it will reappear.
In this video, we're going to be discussing images, PDFs, logos, and how they work with ezMerge templates. So for example, you can have a pull-down menu over here on the left-hand side where a customer would select an option and that logo would appear on the actual proof itself, and they can change that. There's a bunch of different variations of this. It can be automatically done based on their profile, but in this video we're going to be going over the most common methods of doing this. Typically, these images will be either PNG files or they will be PDF files. Typically, this is done with logos or different departments, as you see that's happening over there on the proof. So let's talk a little bit about how we build this field. On our ezMerge template, you'll have this will say either image or PDF, indicating whether it's an image field or it requires a PDF. Inside of here, there's a number of different options. The settings tab is where you're going to define what type of field it is. So for example, this is set to a file library menu. And what that means is that in my order desk file library, I have uploaded these logos. Again, they can be PDFs or PNG files. And then what I'm telling the system is that I want to offer those choices to my customers. And you can see that those are showing up down here. I can also click to set a default image if I'd like. Let's talk about another type of field that you can have. The other most popular type of field is a user image upload. And by selecting user image upload, what that allows is your user, go ahead and reload this page. The user is now able to upload their own image from their computer. So by clicking upload or edit, that will allow them to upload their image and then also make modifications to it. By clicking my files, that allows them to upload an image or PDF to their own file library. So when they re-enter the site at a later date or time, they'll be able to use a file that they have previously uploaded in the past. So each user has their own smaller version of a file library that they can upload files into. But that's how the image upload will work, and those are the two most common methods of using images and PDFs. So I'll go ahead and switch back to the file library menu. It's going to show up on both the proof and the production file, and then I'll set my source to my file library folder that I need, and I'll go ahead and save this. If we go over to formatting, typically the most common settings are going to be to set your image to auto scale.
That means no matter what size image they try and upload, it will shrink it proportionally to fit within the size of the box that's been set on this template. So for example, there's a box around this and it's going to fit it into that box. Then typically you'd want that image to be centered in the middle of that box. There's some other options here, but not as commonly used as the image fit method and the image anchor. And then of course you can change the position and the location of that field without having to open the PDF. You can do that all within the position tab here as well. And just as a friendly reminder, when you are trying to position things, the easiest way to do that is to set your template into debug mode. And by doing that, when you refresh your template, it will draw, you'll actually visually be able to see the boxes behind the scenes, and it will set all your text to magenta so that you can line things up properly.